always think it starts with the players, and they've had tremendous players over the years. I mean, when you talk about Earl and Cam and Sherman, the linebackers have stayed consistent for so long. They had Bennett up front, Bain. You go on, and defensively they've always kind of, been in the top 5, 6 in the league in defense. And anytime you play good defense, you have a chance to win. Then they got Russell about halfway through my time in Arizona, and they totally changed their identity on who they were offensively, and they've kind of adapted with the times. And you're always evolving, and I think they've done a great job of evolving. And I think Pete-Carroll's one of the best coaches in our business. So
when you look at Russell, obviously he's a dynamic quarterback, but just what makes him so different?
I think he's I don't know Russell personally, but I would venture to say that he's very competitive. He's probably a relentless worker in and out of the classroom. And then he's got an exceptional skill set. He can throw the ball from any throwing angle, throw it on the run, throw it from the pocket. Can avoid the rush is probably what separates him more than anything. His ability to escape and get out of pressure situations and still be able to look down the field and throw the ball, because that's where a lot of their big plays come.
And there you have it, Russell Wilson, and he is going to be a challenge without question.
I mean, he's a consummate pro. He is understood from back to his college days, and probably before that. I only started picking him up when he was at Wisconsin after transferring from NC State, right?
Correct, yep.
But, he's figured out how to play with his skill set and with his height. His sub 6 foot height. He's very dangerous. People think, when they think of Russell Wilson, you often think, well, on the run, he's so dangerous with his legs, or at least throwing on the run. But he can throw from the pocket too. He's a complete player. The Seahawks are a good team that's well coached. You're not going to fool them very often on schemes. So this is a very difficult matchup for Cleveland.
And we've alluded to. Let's take a look at the numbers for Russell Wilson, and really the thing that jumps out: 12 touchdowns, no interceptions yet. That's a little different than he usually turns the ball over a little bit, and you see really good completion percentage. And there's the running game that you mentioned with another 2 touchdowns running the football. The Browns, they got to get after him, and they got to create some turnovers. The defense has to create some turnovers. I think, Greedy Williams being able to play, and also Denzel Ward being able to play will help a little bit.
Dave, I freely admit I have not seen every snap of the Seattle Seahawks this season, or even previous seasons, but I've seen enough of Russell Wilson in certain primetime games. What the Browns really need to be wary of is the extended plays. Wilson is a master at extending plays, and his receivers, such as Lockett, know exactly what to do when he extends the play. They know where to go. It's like telekinesis. They can figure out where, and that's something that is that comes with experience. It comes with time. It comes with football IQ. But the receivers for Wilson know where to be and how to extend plays along with him. So just because if you're a Browns defensive back, specifically a corner, you have stayed with your guy for 1,000, 2,000, and you think you're good, not necessarily the case. You don't want to lose track of these guys, because Wilson somehow, some way is squiggling out of the pocket, and all of a sudden he's throwing the ball downfield.
And Lockett is a guy that, Denzel Ward will be called on to, if his hamstring is healthy. This is a guy with elite speed. He was a huge kick and punt return guy before. He's now transitioned into a pretty darn good receiver. You see, 30 receptions, 3 touchdowns. He's their deep threat. The other thing that the Browns have not done a great job with, big physical running backs, and the Seahawks have a pretty good one in Chris-Carson. And you see 94 carries, 4 yards a carry, just 1 touchdown. He's got a couple receiving touchdowns as well. And whenever you talk Browns defense, you got to talk tight ends because they seem to come up and bite them. And Will Dissly has come out of nowhere the last couple of years. He's a guy, again, 4 touchdowns. You know, you pay attention to Lockett on the outside and Carson coming out of the backfield. Before you know it, Will Dissly has snuck underneath and is catching the ball and getting into the end zone.
And I'm not saying that Dissly in and of himself is not couldn't be good with other QBs, but what you find with the top-notch quarterbacks in this league is they make good players out of guys that maybe you weren't aware of at first. They elevate the games, and of course, the master of all masters of that is Brady.
Yep.
They elevate the games of guys who maybe in other systems would be overlooked or just an average player. All of a sudden you're going, why is this guy so good? Oh, that's right, because Tom Brady's his quarterback or Drew Brees is his quarterback. Russell Wilson is in that category of quarterbacks who elevates guys and creates opportunities for them, isn't afraid to go to them when the money's on the line. So, yes, the Seahawks are diversified on offense. They don't rely just on one component. They can beat you in a variety of ways. And, again, that's why I think they are a very difficult out for the Browns on Sunday.
Well, and you mentioned Russell Wilson extending plays. When he extends the plays and you got a guy with Lockett's speed on the outside, that puts an awful lot of pressure on the defensive backs to be able to run with him. And then it also puts pressure on the linebackers because Dissly is one of those guys that, you know, is he staying in? Oh, he's going out. Now you gotta be on your toes, and Wilson is really good at finding that.
Right, and by extending plays, we don't mean that you automatically have to roll out and wait 5 seconds. It can be a half a second extension where you take a side, Wilson sidesteps in the middle of a crowd and just buys himself an additional half to 1 second, and the next thing you know, he's got a guy down the sideline. So, and all quarterbacks try to do it. We saw Mayfield do it very well in the second half of 2018. He was able to figure out his way through the pocket, get out of the trash, and create some throwing lanes when you didn't think they were there.
Well, and the other thing is Wilson has really developed that skill in the pocket. Initially, the first couple of years, he did run more. Now he's looking to throw the ball, and he's being effective in it. I mean, he's become, that elite quarterback. Against what I thought would happen, initially I thought running quarterback, he's shown he can play from the pocket.
I take the quarterbacks and chop them into thirds. I say, okay, are you a top 10 quarterback? Are you a middle 10? Are you a bottom 10 plus? And to me, Russell Wilson is consistently in the top 10. And this year, I'm not PFF. I'm doing it based on my eyes and what I've seen from him and what I've read and listened to and looked at some of the numbers and some of the sabermetric numbers. But to me, he's a top 5 quarterback in this league as far as active QBs going, because obviously a guy like Breeze is down, a guy like Roethlisberger's down. But right now, among active QBs, Russell Wilson is a top 5 quarterback.
And the Browns will have to find a way to keep him under wraps a little bit on Sunday as the Seahawks come to town. We're going to step aside.